Welcome to Mount Hood. We're testing expensive forks today. Fox Factory 38, Buttercup Zeb, and then I'm gonna start the day off on a Rockshox Boxer. All three of these forks are north of $1,000. I'm gonna finish the day off on the Fox 36 Rythem because it was the clear winner of the budget enduro fork battle. Today we're gonna find out if expensive forks are worth it. I'm gonna be testing this on my 60-pound Specialized Kenevo. The Boxer's 27.5 because I'm not made of money and I don't have money for a 29-inch dual crown fork. That's the only variable in the forks. Not to confuse my passion with ability, I'm just an average rider. In fact, the worst thing about riding a dual crown fork, people expect you to be jumping off of cliffs. It's a little bit slower to move when you're trying to jib and kind of play around on the bike. Super plush on any drops, amazing at high speed, very planted. The Boxer is amazing in the corners, it's just completely tracking and planted. I'm struggling on these jumps. This wasn't my best run by a long shot, and the Boxer really wasn't helping me on these blue flow trails. The Rockshox suspension damper just feels dead, not lively, not reactive. It's just kind of like a neutral party. The 200mm Boxer doesn't jump particularly good because it's so linear and soft as it's moving up and down in its travel. Jumping into a rough downhill line, the Boxer is the dream. The bike is just amazing in the chunder. No arm pump, just as fast as you can go, just amazing. No complaints on DH lines. Oh, yeah. Second rundown on the Rockshox Boxer, I took a more challenging trail and the fork was just straight up amazing. Expensive forks have these bleeder valves. Let's check if they actually do anything at 6,000 feet. A shitload of air came out of that Rockshox Zeb. So high-end forks do really benefit from extra features like this. What that bleeder valve does, it's going to equalize the pressure when you're up on an alpine mountain. Wow, single crown fork, so different. Switching over to a single crown fork felt really weird. The steering is not nearly as good. Oh, it jumps so good. The Rockshox Zeb is amazing at jumping. The rigidity of the Zeb really helps it track on fast sections, but this is where the Zeb really falls apart. The Rockshox Zeb has a lot of chatter on braking bumps. As long as you can get over all the chatteriness it gives you, you're gonna love the Zeb. So pumped on this blue flow line. This is a little more advanced trail. It's rated black. It's really a blue trail, but in Oregon they call it a black trail. So watch the Zeb in this section. Mad chatter going on in that Zeb. Definitely an improvement from the original Zeb. You can definitely feel the Buttercups helping the Zeb. Deadens the blow because it's got some rubber on the end of the fork underneath, but it's still a pretty harsh fork, to be perfectly honest. Fork was at 90, went to like 81. So I decided to lower the pressure, open up all the compression knobs on this rough section of trail to see if it would be less stiff. I went from 90 to 82 PSI and it didn't really do anything. The Zeb does have very good mid-stroke support, as you can see. Wasn't super impressed with the Rockshox Zeb Ultimate. And I'm gonna press the bleeder, see if there's any air in there. Oh, there's a ton of air in there. The Fox 38 was set up for my Amish bike. I'm on a 57, 60-pound e-bike, and it wasn't working very good. It's not a set it and forget it fork. It was definitely all over the place. Pumped the pressure back up, went straight into the downhill line, and the Fox 38 is just way more plush than the Zeb. It doesn't track quite as good, it doesn't feel quite as stiff, but it's definitely more compliant on your body and hands. Hit the bottom hard. Definitely need some air. I think this is second or third air pressure adjustment. I just went up to 120, added some compression because it's not jumping that great. I cranked the compression up, high pressure in the Fox 38. It just doesn't jump as good as the Zeb. The Zeb is just so freaking stiff, it's a better jumper. So I'm very warmed up at this point, like 5 runs on this trail. And I can definitively say the Zeb jumps better than the 38. The 38 almost feels like a coil fork. It's very plush, but because of that plushness, it's not quite as predictable when you're jumping. Overall though, I'm gonna pick the 38 at this point, just because it's very forgiving on your hands, and the ride, the feeling of it just feels
unexplainably good.
After 30 miles downhill, I was pretty worn out, to be perfectly honest. I accidentally put the GoPro in time lapse. The 36 was definitely a big boy, and it definitely can play with the big boys, especially when it's upstroked like this one to 180. Quick note here, check out the O-ring on the Fox 36. I am unable to use all of the travel on the 36 because it doesn't have the bleeder valves. One benefit of a high-end fork. All of these forks are above $1,000, and they're really just better and worse in different areas of riding, but I am going to rank them. Third place I give to the Rockshox Boxer. It's not a bad fork, it's very plush, it inspires you to just huck it to flat. It steers better than all the forks because your handlebars are directly above the fork, just like a motocross bike. I think it's the worst jumping fork because this is a base model Boxer and it just has 5 clicks of rebound. I think the Boxer Ultimate would ride a lot better because you could crank the compression for the blue flow trails and jumping. Second place, we go to the Rockshox Zeb. It's definitely the stiffest single crown fork I rode throughout the day. The chassis of it just feels really stiff. The air spring is super stiff. There's a benefit here. It jumps really good. I did my best jumps on this fork. It also bunny hops super good. This is the Zeb Ultimate with buttercups. Buttercups are just really a band-aid for a bad air spring design. Throughout the day of testing the Rockshox Zeb, I found it to benefit big time from running a faster rebound. No surprise here, the Fox 38 is #1 for the day. They call this the Fox Float for a reason. It feels like you're floating on air. The air spring design on this fork is absolutely amazing compared to the Zeb. I've been on quite a few Fox 38s, but this is the most time I've spent on the Grip 2 damper. That damper is definitely light years ahead of Rockshox. The compromise on the Fox 38, it takes a lot of work to get it set up. Took me like 5 or 6 air pressure adjustments, maxed out high-speed compression, twisting the rebound. Once you get the rebound and the compression and everything else tuned, you're really gonna be rewarded on the Fox 38. My favorite thing about the Fox 38, it's plush and it doesn't feel super huge when you're riding it, but it's stiff everywhere you need it to be. The Fox 36 is 85% of the Fox 38. Keep in mind, the last 10% of any project is the absolute hardest to get right. Hated that Fox 36 at 160, but once I overstroked it to 180, it's amazing. That overstroked air spring compensates for the cheaper damper, and it's a really good fork. What really matters is what's inside your fork. The 38 has the most advanced air spring and damper, and it definitely feels the best. Are $1,000 forks really worth it? At this point in my riding, yes, but I'm gonna go full Amish on the 38 because I'm kind of over riding e-bikes. Let me know, should I do Öhlins or some bougie suspension next to see what's better than this?